Welcome to the Grawlix Nights Grawlix Podcast live show. I'm Randy.
I'm Melanie.
And I'm Jesse.
Hey everybody, what's going on? We got an exciting show. And I'm amped, can't you tell?
I can tell how amped you are. You know why you're so amped? Because you took your AG1s.
Oh no,
you took your athletic greens.
We can't
just one scoop a day will get you all the vitamins and minerals you need.
Nope. We can't start hawking stuff against their wishes. Well, it's not against their wishes. We just don't have permission yet.
Right.
We're just not getting paid to.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, if we want to start off the bat with sponsorships, hey, this is a legit kind of sponsorship. Thanks, StreamYard. Wow, that's so loud.
It feels
time.
You know what it feels like. They took their AG1s. One scoop.
No. Throw the AG1s out, but while you do, stream it on StreamYard.
Stream it on StreamYard. All right.
Wow, now that we got that out, AG, what is it? Just going to be some different thing every episode?
Apparently, Holly ordered AG1s, and so I was like, oh, I'm getting into that box. Like, she ordered them, and she had been talking about them, but I didn't know they were coming at all. And so the box was there, and I'm like, oh, it's on. I'm using it.
Hey, Melanie, were you going to say something before I blasted our eardrums out with that StreamYard spot?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, here's what's on the agenda. There's some Doctor Who news we're going to talk about, and then we're just going to kick it. I was looking up entertainment news, and I mean, there's a few things, but it's mostly, I don't know, it's in a kind of a weird...
It's almost like everybody's on strike. It's weird.
That could be have something to do with it, right? That could be a reason.
It might be.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, yeah, most of the news right now is like reviews of stuff that's just come out, like The Flash. Wait, The Flash, is that out? That's coming out.
Some people have seen it. Yeah.
Okay.
Some people have seen it.
Some Spider-Verse stuff, and I haven't seen either of those yet. So,
Yeah. Well, there's more news on Beetlejuice 2 that I don't remember it, but it came out. And then there was something about
more casting news. Willem Dafoe's going to be in Beetlejuice 2.
Yeah, how great is that?
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
I was mildly ambivalent about the whole thing, and now I am excited.
I'm still cautious about it.
It's only good though if he is one of the undead. He's
got to be.
He's got to be, yeah. With that face. Ugh.
Yeah. They don't even need to put makeup on him.
No, he just stretch it in strange ways.
Yeah, just to be like, hey, smile in a creepy way. You mean like my normal smile? Perfect. Don't change it.
How did he never get picked to play the Joker in anything?
I don't know. I've seen AI renditions of that, and it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah, even before that, occasionally I'd see somebody Photoshop up like some mock Willem Dafoe Joker thing. He knows. I think he's talked, like people have asked him about it. He knows. He'd be down for it. Boom. That's what we got for you tonight, guys.
There you go. That was the show.
Yeah, I was just looking through a bunch of news. There's not much, and yeah, you're right. Writer strike's still going on. The CEO of CNN's out.
Right.
I mean, that's not really the kind of thing we usually cover, but
it's still notable. Huge news. It's huge news.
Out as in out of the closet or out of the business?
Out of the business.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like after that terrible Trump town hall, they were like, this isn't working, pal.
Other than that being just the worst decision and poorly executed thing, I had no opinion until I heard like his quotes on it. and he was like, well, it's CNN's job to make the news, and we made a lot of news. No, it's not your job to make the news. It's your job to report the news. You don't make the news. You're doing something completely different then.
And when you make the news for being highly like bad at your job, that's not good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
And
Or-
you know, there was, I think, the Atlantic. I don't know. I had read. Strangely enough, I've read a couple articles. I've been following this a little bit, and there were some pretty substantial hit pieces on him, and so it kind of seemed like that this was inevitable anyway, that he was on his way out.
Yeah, I think that just expedited things.
But yeah, that's definitely not the kind of, you know what? It's sadly enough, it's entertainment news, because that's what CNN and Fox and all that, they're not news. They're entertainment.
Right.
And that's why we find ourselves in the state we find ourselves in.
Yeah.
Because since, I don't remember where I even heard this. Seen this thing sometime. We're talking about, it must have been sometime in the 90s, where basically the 24-hour news cycle, cable news, that whole thing, where that became like a profit thing, where they had to like,
Well, and CNN,
just like any channel.
Weren't they the first?
Maybe. Sure. That sounds right.
I don't know, but I
Even-
remember. Go ahead.
Oh, even now they're only one of three. So like if they disappear, it's just two, and that's bad.
Yeah, it is.
I remember long ago when Jon Stewart was still on the Daily Show. A thing came out where the Daily Show was the most accurate news station on TV, and I'm like, but it's a freaking comedy show. How? It's nuts to me.
Yeah, that was his thing. He was upset about it too, because he's like, we're not news. This is
Yeah.
comedy. We shouldn't be the most accurate or whatever.
Factual, yeah, whatever.
People of a certain, and it shouldn't even be this way, but people of a certain political affiliation will disagree with this, but PBS is really the only non-biased news, and people will fight you tooth and nail against that, but they report without bias, and if facts make you feel like they have a bias, sorry, that sucks for you, I guess.
Right.
But
For a lot of people it does.
that's not why people tune into cable news stuff. They tune in for echo chamber stuff and opinion pieces and stuff like that, and that's not news.
And to be outraged.
Yeah, they get addicted to that. Anyway, that's also not what we talk about here on Grawlix. We talk about Doctor Who a lot. We've been doing that a lot. So let's do that some more.
All right.
Bonnie Langford returns to Doctor Who as Mel Bush.
And here's the thing that surprised me the most. Not that she's returning, but every time I see an article with this kind of headline, they're going to Big Finish. Every time. Even if it's an article like this, she's notably done a lot of things for Big Finish. But oftentimes they'll say, okay, well they're returning to Doctor Who. Same thing with like the Christopher Eccleston stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like they announced him for the 60th or whatever. It's like, yeah, because he's doing a project with Big Finish. But this she's legitimately returning to television, and she will be actively a companion, or at least a character that interacts with Chudigawa's doctor, whatever number he is.
Yeah, that was okay. That was when I first seen this, I was like, okay, yeah, probably Big Finish, huh? And then I read it and I was like, oh no, actually the series. And I was like, okay, cool, a cameo. But then in this, and I pulled up the Doctor Who.tv article on it. RTD said, and yeah, it'll be during the 15th Doctor's run. RTD said, and this isn't just a cameo, Bonnie is right in the thick of the action, battling monsters and chaos and cliffhangers right at the Doctor's side, just like the old days. So Hopefully, better cliffhangers than some of that era.
Do you think they did really well the last episodes or whatever, where they had like all of them? They had their little support group. Did so well that they were like, "Oh, we got to get some old people back as the companions."
Well, Jesse, you had said something in the Grawlix group, and I can't.
Well, you know, like I am actually excited about this because the last time that RTD did something like this, it was Sarah Jane, and not only was Sarah Jane integral in that episode, was it School Days or something like that? Like she was there. She was not just a companion. She was actually there doing her own thing. And then she even got her own show. Like RTD does a better job of mining the classic series and making those characters feel important than somebody else we know.
Right. Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like, he's probably like, hey, you want to spin off? You want to spin off?
He's ready. Yeah, he's just ready to give her the Mel show.
He invites all the old companions over, and he's like, look under your chair. You get a spin off.
Perry!
Yeah.
That would be a good spin-off, I think.
Yeah.
Is she still active? Bring back Perry and end her run properly instead of that
Yeah.
crap
Properly.
tagged on.
No,
What?
it would be like her and the husband and all their half alien children.
No.
He got Syl. Whatever his thing was.
Yeah.
You know what? Here's how RTD can take Chibnall's timeless child thing and make it right. Like, RTD just needs to make that whole thing a big setup to retcon Perry's bad. Perry and it's gone now. Leela's.
Leela's ending. She's
Yeah,
just
both of
gonna go
them.
get married.
They're just
Yeah.
gonna get married to unlikely people out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Fix all the companions. The companions that got a raw deal, except for Adric.
Yeah. Screw it.
Leave him dead.
He killed
Yeah.
the dinosaurs. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good. I know it's like, I know it's people didn't like him, and that's like kind of a, you know, well, I don't know, whatever. It's kind of funny that they offed him that way, but man, I think it's kind
Feels
of
like that would be a fixed point in time now.
right.
There ain't no
would be.
going back.
Yeah, that's all I mean, that's interesting. I wonder exactly what that means. Is that a couple episodes? It'd be cool to legitimately, maybe even not, you don't even have to keep them the whole season, but it'd be cool to legitimately bring back an old companion as a regular companion again. That'd be interesting.
That would be cool, yeah. Jamie.
Yeah.
Old man McCrimmon.
He's all over Big Finish. You know he'd be all about coming back.
He'd be so... I mean, he's writing Doctor Who.
Right.
You know? Like, he's writing novels about Jamie.
I love that. That's great. Yeah, man. If anything, this is just, and she's a fine character. She's not my favorite companion of all time for sure.
Right. But I think that was down to the writing too. Like they were like,
right.
you know, I feel like the script editors of that time really had it in for Colin Baker anyways, because they were just like, we're just going to give you awful stuff to do, and we're going to give you awful companions, and that's the way it is.
But why? Because he was great.
Yeah, no, I mean, he did have some pretty awful television episodes, but like he is a great doctor, all said and done.
I don't know. It's nice. I'm excited. I'm excited for Doctor Who, just in general. And I know, you know, the fan service, bring back RTD, but like, come on, why not? He does pretty good. He makes good decisions. They're not always home runs, but they're okay.
Right. And what an interesting left field announcement.
Right. I would not have guessed.
Right.
That's pretty much been every announcement since starting with him coming back. It's just, I would have never guessed.
Right.
And then 60th adventure, and we got Tennant back. I'd be like, why? Okay, I'd never guess. Like
Right.
after they announced the next Doctor, suddenly, oh, Tennant's back. Tennant, not 10, 14, and Donna story. Okay, weird. You know.
And right away, people
Yeah.
are, or not right away, but people are speculating that one of the reasons that, like, we're gonna see River Song in one of the next episodes that we review for our Dr. Donna series that we've been doing,
Right.
and some of the speculation is that, well, she recognized him right away. Well, part of that is because she probably knows the 14th Doctor,
Oh, right.
like she would have interacted with that.
Oh, okay. With that.
Yeah, with that.
So,
I
I don't
think-
understand. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I don't understand why they didn't do like weave that in and around more than they did. They just, well, it doesn't matter. We already know they handled the whole thing stupid.
What, River Song?
Yeah.
Oh man, what a convoluted mess. I mean, and it was gonna be like the idea is interesting because Moffat was really good at interesting ideas, but his execution, it was going to be convoluted and messy no matter what because that's kind of how he executed things. And I'm not the biggest fan of her anyway, just kind of her character because she's such a Moffat female character, like just
Yeah.
she's a lot. Sometimes I really enjoyed her. Like, there's some decent stories with her, but that Let's Kill Hitler episode and that whole thing, that soured me so much on it because it's like, what a mess. Like, what a mess. Did you not think you were ever going to get a chance to, like, I don't know, man. It's just like, in the span of, I think it was maybe a two-parter. So in the span of 2 episodes, she suddenly, but this character also happens to be River Song, and I hated everything about that.
Yeah. And what could she just like, what do you call it? Regenerate on command or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's even something that, like, her being able to do that in the first place is an interesting thing that is never really touched on. She wasn't a Time Lord. She was a human born of 2 humans on a spaceship by near the I think it was near the time stream or whatever it was. It was kind of the reasoning, which
I
in a
thought
way
they-
is, go ahead.
I thought that they were gonna do something like she was like the first Time Lord or something because she was born in the time stream and that made her a Time Lord and that's how Time Lords came to be. I thought they were gonna do something like that, and then when they didn't, I was like, okay, well then why even have her be a Time Lord? That just is dumb. Doesn't make
I
any
feel
sense.
like I'd be less
you're not gonna
upset
do
about the
something with
timeless.
it.
I'd be less upset about the timeless child if it turned out it was River Song. I mean, that'd still be like, wait, what? But
Maybe the Doctor is River Song. Ew. No, I'm sorry. I'm just.
would be a bit at you. Oh, that'd be a lot at you. Well, I was about to say, has Doctor Who ever approached that? Kind of, I guess, with Missy and Master. Not that they got together, but the Master hit on Missy a bit, and she was weirded out by it. But then I was also thinking of Loki, where that's like a big thing, kind of.
Yeah.
What do you, or viewers? Would you get down with your regenerated or alternate universe self?
Oh no. Well, I mean, like that's kind of like Spider-Verse, right? Like,
If they were hot,
not,
I guess.
It's not weird. It's self-love.
like like we don't think about the Spider-Gwen Miles Morales thing being weird, but like they are just different versions of Spider-Man. So
You're right. That's a good point.
Yeah,
All
but
this
they're
should-
like different versions from different universes. This is like the same guy from the same universe. He's just so old he forgot who he was or something. It would be
Right.
the case, I would imagine.
Right.
Or they brainwashed him or whatever the story is now. I don't even know anymore.
Yeah.
So, how about them Cubs?
The Cubbies. Oh man.
Nice, nice. We don't do that here. I'd rather get stuck in silence as I can't formulate the next thing to say than talk about that.
You know what would help?
No, put it away. It's not what this is.
Oh, all right. Just one scoop a day.
You think AG1, do you think they're like, you know what demographic we need?
Those nerds. Yeah, athletic greens. Yeah, it sounds like the nerd community.
We need some of those middle-aged nerds.
Yeah.
That's the demographic we need.
Yeah, what we really need are people who go to see Guardians of the Galaxy 3 times.
Right. Man, I still have not watched that. The third one.
It's good.
Well,
I like
I started my purge. I think I already mentioned this. My purge of
The
streaming
purge?
services. I started my purge of streaming services, and I think Disney Plus was one of them. For a time. Once they bring back Loki, maybe I'll hop on there for a while.
Was Secret Invasion is the one that's coming out this month. So all
Oh.
Fury, all Scrolls.
Well,
Kind
that
of looks
could be
interesting. Yeah.
That could be good. I'm down for some Samuel L.
Well, I mean, it's not Netflix, so we can share.
You're right.
I'll find somebody. I know half my family has subscriptions to whatever. All of them have one to something. You know what I mean?
Disney's doing the purge themselves. They're purging shows. We might have already talked about that too, but they're pulling
Right.
the WB Discovery purging Willow. They purged Willow, and it's like that show.
Like it's actually gone? Like they took it off and everything?
I think so. Yeah,
Oh,
weird.
Wow.
it was up for like 6 months. Now it's gone. So,
Weird.
yeah, that's the new. I mean, that was obviously kind of. Again, these tech companies, and I get whatever, they're looking for ways to cut corners and stuff because they've I don't know, exerted themselves. But because I've seen it in other things too, like social networks copying each other with just the worst ideas. But like one company will do this thing to save some money or make some money, and all their users hate it and they get horrible press. And other companies still look at it and go, you know what? They got the right idea. Let's do that too. I see that a lot right now. It's like the Reddit API thing. I don't if you use Reddit, you probably are kind of aware of that. Like obviously taking a cue from Twitter a bit. It's like that is I mean, if you want bad press, sure, that's the right choice. But if you don't want bad press, don't copy anything Twitter's doing.
Right.
Facebook copying Twitter's like paid verification checkmark idea. Like, what are you guys doing? Everyone hates that. But they still copy the ideas. And it's the same with, streaming services. Disney started, they got to save some money. So they started offloading parts of their catalog. I'm assuming so they don't have to pay licensing or royalties or however it works, which is really a raw deal for, I imagine that's part of like the writer's strike thing too. You would think that's in the negotiations a bit.
Which is almost like perfect timing for that. It's like,
Right.
yeah, this is why it's a big deal.
Right?
So what happens to those shows that they own if they don't put them on their streaming service? Do they just nobody gets to watch them or play them or use them?
Yes.
That
is
sucks.
That's why I know when Warner Brothers Discovery started doing it, there were a couple of show creators, especially because they purged a bunch of animated series, and there were some that were super upset because they're like, this season or the show or this last season or whatever never got to DVD release, and now you can't watch it streaming. It's essentially gone. I legally can't distribute it anywhere because they own it, but you can't watch it anywhere. And
This feels like the the media equivalent of being like a slumlord who just owns things for the tax write-offs.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I have
Yeah.
a building and it's basically, decrepit or whatever. Like there's you can't even go in it, but it's worth enough as a tax shelter or a tax write-off that it's better for me to just own it and not sell it and not do anything with it than it is to do anything good.
Right.
Well, in some of the series, they've been kind of farming out to the free view channels or whatever, which are basically basic cable, right? It's just it's free to watch, so it's not cable in that respect, but it's ad supported. So they make their money from the ads anyway. But like that's where Westworld went to. I don't remember which one, but it went to those free channels, which is really weird to me. So that's where some of the stuff went, but not all of it. And I don't know where I don't know where the Disney stuff's going at all. But they're doing it like Hulu. I mean, it's kind of the same conglomerate of companies, but Hulu purged a bunch of stuff as well. So
Yeah, but nobody likes Hulu.
Well, and something I was thinking about, so there's a new Mortal Kombat, like there was a gameplay trailer for the new upcoming Mortal Kombat drop today, which is pretty cool. If you're into Mortal Kombat and you haven't checked it out, definitely do. Mortal Kombat 1. That's the next Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat 1. But that got me thinking, I was like, I swear I had bought, and maybe I think I maybe had it on Xbox, Mortal Kombat 9 or whatever it was. And X. Mortal Kombat X as well. But it's like you can't buy those anymore. You can't find them anywhere. They're not streaming or like they're not on Steam. And so I was like, why can't you find that? And I did a Google search earlier today because I was thinking about this. And it's because Freddy Krueger is in the game, but they don't have the rights to use him anymore. So they had to delist the game.
That's
So you
dumb.
can't
so
play
bizarre.
you can't buy the game because they don't have the rights to Freddy in the game. And
So that means that 11 is eventually going to be unplayable too because they have a bunch of like licensed characters that are playable in the game.
potentially, yeah. If they decide they don't want to, if they can't relicense it, or I'm surprised if they
They
just
don't want to.
I'd be like, was he in the base game? I feel like he'd be a DLC character, but I guess if he was in the base game,
I thought he was like a platform specific character too. But did
Right.
every platform have one of those? And so no matter what platform you're on, you can't have it?
I think. No, I don't think he was necessarily platform specific. It might have started that way, but then rolled out to the other ones. Because, yeah, I know games were doing that a lot, especially fighting games, but I don't think Mortal Kombat's been doing that in the last couple releases. But I'm surprised. I'm assuming it might be different if it's a case of like I don't remember which one. Maybe Mortal Kombat 11, the Terminator's in there, or RoboCop, or whatever. I'm assuming those were
Terminator
DLC.
and Rambo and
Yeah.
a couple.
I'm assuming those are DLC characters, so I would think they'd then maybe delist the DLC packs,
Right.
so that you can't buy those anymore, but you could still get the base. But I could be wrong. They also sell like the ultimate versions where you get everything all in one.
Right.
But it's this idea of, and this has been the concern with digital media for a long time, but now that, especially with the streaming services, we're really seeing it. You don't own anything. You're just renting access to everything. And that kind of includes Steam stuff, although if they delist a game and you've bought it, they don't, you still have it in your account. You can still play it. But the idea of once, for whatever reason, and it's usually some stupid licensing reason, something's pulled, it's gone if it's not on physical media.
That's recently there was some news about that with the Homestar Runner Strong Bad game. I can't even remember what it's called, but it's like game for awesome and attractive people or something like that. I think it just exists that way. I don't know that it's a physical thing. So once it's no longer supported on Steam, then it's gone.
Oh, I bet that's the case for ton of indie games, like a
Yeah.
ton of. I bet the majority of indie games definitely don't get like a disc release,
Right.
and whatever, digital's super convenient, but that does suck, and music is not excluded from that because Spotify and Apple, they can pull whatever they want off their service at any time. So like, your music could disappear, I suppose.
Well, you would think people would have it in more place than one.
Right, but
like
I
if
don't
you
know.
buy a movie off of iTunes or something, then iTunes just doesn't exist anymore and becomes Apple Podcasts. Like, oh, that stuff's gone.
Right. Well,
yeah, exactly.
I don't do that stuff anyway.
But I think most people do. Most people do.
It's because they're dumb. They should be pirates.
And then your hard drive will crash. I lost a lot, and I'm not pirated stuff, but I lost a lot of stuff when my one hard drive went out, because that was like my main videos and music and everything on there. And whoa, that's rough. It's rough to rebuild.
Yeah.
But if I still collected physical media, I wouldn't have to worry about all that. So I don't know.
Yeah, but then they get all scratched and pooped up. It's just.
Well, I don't even have a CD. Like, computers don't come with CD-ROMs. I could have bought a case that supported a CD-ROM when I put together this computer, but the case I liked didn't even have a bay for it. So, like, I don't have a CD-ROM in my computer.
And
My
how
phone
often
don't even
have
have
you
a
needed
headphone
it,
jack. What's that?
And
yeah.
how often have you actually needed it?
No, like, generally I wouldn't need it.
When are they going to come out with like DNA storage for your movies and CDs? Because they were talking about it before. You could store like 1,000,000 hours of whatever video on stranded DNA.
Right. Well, I mean, did they make some like DVDs or CDs, special DVDs that could hold just tons of data? But it's just physical.
Yeah, nobody was using them anymore by that time.
Planned obsolescence.
Kind of news related, but also related to what we're talking about. Venture Brothers, I don't know, this last week or so, sometime this week or yesterday or today, new trailer for that movie that's coming out soon. But they also just released a like complete series box set on DVD, and I get that a lot of Venture, like the earlier seasons, was probably SD anyway, standard definition anyway. But like the whole thing's on DVD, and I'm like, DVD's a dead medium. It's like almost 30 years old now. Why are we still releasing stuff on DVD?
Because it took them so long to make it that it was originally on DVD, and they just forgot to switch it over.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I would think if they're going to release a new set, they would have had Blu-ray options, but I have not seen Blu-ray option listed, which I'm very surprised by. Which
it's
also
clearly not a dead medium, because like Walmart's still full of brand new releases on DVD and huge DVD bins in the middle of the aisle.
It's just wild to me because you can't even buy a standard definition TV anymore. They're all HD. That's the standard now. And I think it's just DVDs lasted long enough that the replacement hit after it was a little too late for most physical media. It just wasn't going to catch on. But, and I get it, streaming's super convenient. But like, I mean, if you really like something, I don't know, I kind of miss collecting like good movies and series and stuff.
And now you just buy a poster.
Yeah, I guess so. You buy a poster. And you buy a poster, you create a podcast, and you talk about it. Yeah, so. Mm-hmm. Or in the case of like, when an episode is deemed not appropriate for modern sensibilities and has disappeared. Like, what's the one that was disappeared somewhat recently? A Community episode, the D&D episode from Community, which is a great episode, but it has a blackface joke in it. But it's also like, and that's why it's removed. But it's like, yeah, but the joke is that blackface was wrong.
Right.
They had an Asian guy paint himself like a black orc and inadvertently blackface, and then they discussed like why that's wrong. That's the whole thing. That's the commentary. It's not just blackface for the sake of like making fun of people. You know what I mean?
Right.
So one of my recent watches is kind of interestingly connected to this, and Spider-Verse for that matter, because it's Clone High. Max has released the new Clone High, and so new episodes on Thursdays. So they just dropped like 2 new episodes today. But the very first episode of Clone High is interesting because the way that the storyline goes is the first series of Clone High, which aired on MTV in the 90s, that series is being continued. So they were frozen at the very end of that series. And so at the very beginning of this series, they're unthawed, but not all of them, because Gandhi was a huge point of contention in the original series. So they were like, nope, Gandhi's still frozen. And they added some different clone characters into the mix. But it's funny because like they play into it, you know, like Abe still talks to Gandhi a little bit because he's just so used to doing it. And then they show Gandhi still frozen. So like they, you know, like in story, at least they deal with it. But what's funny about it is, so they've done that kind of bit, but the whole series is very tongue in cheek about everything that's changed ever since the 90s. Like in the very first episode, Abe is canceled because he can't not talk like they did in the 90s. He just got unthawed. So all the things that were problematic still in the 90s, he's throwing that out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of almost like a Johnny Lawrence kind of deal, almost like a Cobra Kai. It's like, but more dumb and affable kind of thing. Like he's not doing it because he thinks it's he's doing it because he thinks it's okay, but not like to be edgy or anything. Just like he just doesn't have any concept of the idea that things have moved on this much.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. See, I didn't know what that was. I didn't know. I had seen some headlines about it, but I didn't know what Clone High was. I do not remember it.
It's so funny because they do like all sorts of things. Like in the most recent episode that I watched, they're doing a musical. So it's a musical episode of Clone High because you got to have a musical episode. But that's the whole thing about this thing is like just parodying and messing with the tropes of a teen drama in an animated situation full of clones of historical figures. So it's just so bizarre and over the top. But like, so there's these characters like Cleopatra and Confucius and these like backup characters that are literally going to be backup dancers in the show. And Abe Lincoln is just like, he just throws himself into the role and they're like, he's terrible at dancing and singing and he just doesn't even care. And it's like, it's because he's got that white guy confidence, the kind of confidence that you get from having your own podcast. And so they're like, well, what if we just distill the sweat of a white guy? So like they get a bunch of his sweat and then they throw in like, I don't know, like a picture of Joe Rogan and like a bunch of stuff. And then they like take the serum so that they can have just a little bit of that white guy confidence so that they can get through their set.
Fun.
So is it worth a watch? That sounds
I think it's fun. You wouldn't have to watch the original series, but I think the original series is super fun and way ahead of its time, which is why nobody watched it and it just became like this lost thing. But it's on Max now. Like they brought it back with, you know, it's like, okay, well, we're going to re-release this show. I suppose we should offer the old show too. So I've been enjoying it. Not every episode is gold. It's definitely camp. It's, you know, but it's that's the thing is it's a parody. It's supposed to be.
Right.
dumb, and it is supposed to push buttons, that kind of thing. One of the things I really enjoyed was in the original series, they had Mandy Moore. And Mandy Moore lived in a dumpster, and she was just like a crazy person that lived in a dumpster. And they brought her back. They brought back Mandy Moore into the current season of Clone High, and she's still in a dumpster.
That's funny.
Okay, is it?
And they're just like, "Are you sure you're not Mandy Moore?" And she's got like a poster of like one of her movies or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yes, actually, one of the things I wanted to mention is in one of the most recent episodes, David Tennant does voiceover work. Like
really?
Joan of Arc is super into like not performance art, like Art Nouveau kind of like just bizarre film, like that kind of pretentious like stuff that's just too thick to understand kind of stuff. And so she put together like a fundraising video with the money that she gets, and she gets David Tennant at the end to just be like give us money. And it was like, oh my God, they got David Tennant for that.
That's great. What we watched
Yeah.
something not long ago. What was it? Maybe it was one of the Love, Death, and Robots segments. I can't remember what it was, but David Tennant was in it. Oh no, it was maybe one of the Sandman. They released that was like that episode that had like a couple of like animated stuff.
Oh,
and
right.
David Tennant was a voice in there, but he was like such a minor character. It was like the man that lived in the house where the cat that owned the cat or whatever.
Yes.
That amused me. It's like such a minor, like not really anything character. That was funny.
Well, at this point, he's been in a lot of stuff by Gaiman, so maybe they're friendly.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Right. Good Omens season 2, right? Soon?
Yeah.
Soon, I think.
It should be, yeah.
I've been noticing headlines popping up about it, so.
And he wrote a few different Who episodes, didn't he?
Gaiman?
Gaiman, a couple. These
He
are the
did.
two that I'm aware of.
Oh, okay.
He did the
Which,
doctor's wife? No.
yeah, the Doctor's
Is that
Wife
what it's called? Yeah.
and the Nightmare in Silver,
Yeah, Nightmare in Silver.
Yeah, and that one sucks.
which is not great.
Right. But the doctor's wife was a fun episode. It's
That was
actually
a great
the episode that I used to get Holly hooked.
Nice.
That and Blink, because everyone uses Blink.
Right. Well, that's the thing with Doctor Who is varied enough that you could find something, I think, to pull most people in. If you can tailor it
Gas
to
mask
most people.
child.
Yeah, that's right. Use some creepy gas mask ghosts for the most part, or kind of zombies,
Yeah.
and I'm in. I've been watching anime nonstop. I haven't watched any. I was watching movies for a while. Now I'm just watching anime. I actually caved and started watching My Hero Academia, which is a super popular one. And not that it didn't, it looked okay, but it was just it was superhero school basically. And I was like, okay, well, that's cool, I suppose. But it just looked very didn't necessarily look special, but it's very popular. And I started watching it recently, and it's good. But it's not as good as Mob Psycho 100. And I know I've mentioned it on the show, but everybody needs to go watch Mob Psycho 100. It's the best anime, in my opinion. Because
It's really good.
the animation is incredible and insane and very varied. Very varied. Super well done. But I think more than anything, I appreciate the heart. The heart. It's got so much heart, and if to say it out loud, it sounds cheesy, but it doesn't feel cheesy. It works so well. And the fact that there's these huge wild action sequences with incredible cosmic powers, go genie on you for a second. But ultimately every conflict is resolved through talking heart to heart. It's amazing. And they make it work and they hit you with it, and it's so good. Mob Psycho 100, go watch it. I don't know how it's on Funimation. I don't know where else it's at, but go watch it. It's only 3 seasons. I wish there were more. I don't think there are though. Yeah. And we've been watching One Piece. I'm sorry, what were you gonna say?
It's a finding yourself or accepting yourself type of thing, for
right.
I guess whatever, but
well, it appeals to me, only I think way much better done, in the same way, or at least it's just a different tone. It appeals to me in the same way that, like, Doom Patrol initially appealed to me, where it's about people with superpowers and there's crazy weird things that happen, but really it's about people dealing with their emotional trauma and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's part comedy, part action, but essentially that's all to kind of trick you into like watching this rather heartfelt and just fairly deep emotional drama, right?
So the real Mob Psycho 1000 were the friends that we made along the way.
Yeah, kind of. But it's I think it's even less that. It's less the people they find along the way, and the more it's like accepting who you are and loving yourself, kind of a thing. And using that to like connect with other people. Like, I know I was sad once too, but I learned that, and then they're like, yeah, me too. Ah! You know what I mean? Whatever.
But it's good.
It is good. I agree.
So that's what I've been watching.
I want to watch One Punch Man, Mister. Get it. I want it.
I know, we gotta finish season 2. I forgot to even look if that's on Funimation. We'll finish it.
Okay.
Only other stuff I've been watching was like, we talked a little bit about this off mic, but I watched that Shiny Happy People on Prime, which it's pretty big right now. So people that are you expect to hear a lot more about the Gothards or Goddard or whatever. So
it's good.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, there's a little bit of a slant there, whereas like, they simplify matters sometimes, and it's like they basically made at one point they kind of made it sound like all Christians are crazy kind of thing, and it's gonna be ripe for not all Christians, and we're like, okay, yeah. But I think that's a fair criticism of this show, because like there's a moment where it's like, oh, just wait for the not all Christian argument.
But I mean, if you believe in unicorns and trolls, are you crazy? Because if you say that they are, then
right.
That reminds me, kind of shifting topic, but not. On Facebook, I noticed a post from Channel 6 News WOWT, which is local news here. And it was just some story about some chick who gave a religious speech at her graduation. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll click and look at that. And I read the article, and it's like such a nothing article, right? Like, it's fine, whatever. Like, I don't know why that's news, but she gave a speech that was kind of religious. Like, it had a religious flavor to it or whatever, where she's talking about God or something at her graduation. Fine. But then I was like, wait a second. Where is this? And it's some, like, Arkansas graduation. I'm like, why is WOWT, the Omaha local news station, showing me articles about this that's, 1, not notable, not news, and 2, not local? It's purely engagement bait, but also maybe a little more sinister too, because all the local stations are owned by one company anyway.
Right.
It just really kind of irritated me. What?
It's a slow.
It's a slow week.
I mean, that could be sure.
So the interesting thing about all this is that, at the heart of that is it's pandering to this idea of a culture war, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
The anti-woke idea, right? Like if it's woke, go broke kind of deal. But what's interesting lately is that it's gotten so extreme. So like when you swing so extreme on an idea, there's going to be problems, right? So they've swung so far into like, well, we can't have books that have this kind of sexual content and violence. So, oh, and this is going to get even more backlash, I'm sure, because they got the Bible banned from a library for the exact same reasons that they were banning other stuff.
That's great.
Really?
And they were looking at other like religious texts and whatnot too. And so
yeah, I mean, they're full of violence and stuff, genocide.
I don't know what state that was, but I was hearing that. I was like, okay, that's how you know this is extreme and ridiculous. It's like, look, even your book that you've judged all these other books by would fall into the realm of this is inappropriate.
Well, and like that article, I feel like really panders to the crowd that's always so angry that like you can't. There's no prayers in school.
There's a war on Christmas.
There's a war on Christmas. Yes, that crowd. So it just felt like pandering to that crowd, fully knowing the comment section was probably going to be just a mess, just warring, right?
Right.
And I shouldn't even comment it because it just adds to it. But I had to comment basically what I said there. I was like, this is not notable or local. What are you doing? Local news. That's it. 2 words. That's all you need to concern yourself with. But yeah, it really irritated me that it was such... It is playing into that. And that's a prime example. Like, that's even worse to me than CNN. We were talking about it. It's relevant. We were talking about it earlier this stream. CNN and all the cable news channels, like... not really being news, just whatever, doing whatever they can to get ratings.
Right.
And I hate that that is also infiltrated into the local news. And that's not new. My sister the other day sent me a video, and I've seen it before. It was a video that was going around a couple of years ago of all the local news stations synced up from like at different parts of the country. And it's all like the same message, which is creepy. But that's a result of... Who is it? Is it Sinclair? I don't know. They'll all be owned by one company. And I feel like that's why I say, and again, people get upset about NPR and they feel NPR has a bias, but like, and they're government, they're government funded, right? But like, no, that's the point of a station of that is that they're funded regardless. They're funded here, non-bias, report the news. You don't have any like, there's no reason to sway it one way or the other to try to get views.
It's that idea that like something becomes so normalized, like cereal has added sugar or whatever or salt, right? So it's like, oh well, I just eat. This is what cereal tastes like. So you take those added flavors out of there, and you present. Well, this is the natural. This is a natural cereal with no added cereal, and we're like, this tastes funny. This is weird. I don't trust it.
Right.
Right. You're right. You're
Unless
right.
It's some yummy granola banana deliciousness. That stuff's good.
Right.
This cereal isn't confirming my own opinion, my own existing opinion or biases. It must be the opposite. This must be the other. Mm-hmm. It's just cereal without the crap that you're fed all the time.
Right. Like Magic Spoon, which you could use.
No.
I knew that's where this was going. I knew it.
I knew it too.
I teed you up.
We're not sponsored by Magic Spoon, but we could be.
Could be.
Mm-hmm. Is there lots else?
You know what's amazing? There's not.
Oh, you know what else is amazing?
What?
Cats. But now, or actually it'd be in the future, a single injection of a new experimental gene therapy may replace neutering for female cats. The new method would control the stray population more safely and efficiently than current surgical options by giving an intramuscular injection that increases the anti-Müllerian hormone, which helps regulate ovulation. So in the experiment, and they only had, I think, like 16 cats, which is not much, but it's just the first experiment. None of the treated cats became pregnant in the past, or over the past 2 years since they were treated, and have shown no adverse reactions. There were 4, I think, that weren't treated, and they all had kittens right away. And I think I've had kittens multiple times since. However, researchers say further studies are needed to see how gene therapy treatment changes neural activity in parts of the brain involved with reproductive behavior. Because not only did none of those cats become pregnant, but half of them showed absolutely no interest in even mating with males. So the other ones mated, but they just didn't get pregnant. But so they want to, do a little bit more research on that. But the initial results suggest that gene therapy can suppress ovulation without compromising other roles in the animal's health. And if they were due to release it commercially, it would help reduce the stray population, which is currently 600 million worldwide.
Okay, I'm conflicted about this story because on my initial response is, don't do it because this is how you get a Goldblum like life finds a way, and now then we'll have Velocikitties or something.
Velocicaptors.
That's better. You did it.
It's really funny too, because the other one I was thinking about doing was how they had an alligator in captivity that got pregnant, or its eggs had an actual baby in it, like a clone, because that's how that works when you reproduce asexually. And they didn't know that crocodiles could do that.
Jesus, dial, crocojesus. It's immaculate conception.
Immaculate conception of
it's
a
the
crocodile.
second coming, and he's like, I bet you didn't see this.
The Velocipaster. Yeah.
They did say virgin birth, which annoys me because that's not what it is. It's aproductive or asexual reproduction, and birds do it, and lizards do it, and dinosaurs probably did it or could do it. Not that they do all the time, because it's not the healthiest way to do it, but they occasionally do when there's no guys around.
Are seahorses also?
Every time I can count on you, Turner, that's metal in your lungs.
I don't know if seahorses do or not. I know the males carry the babies for the females, but I don't know if they, if the chicks could just do it all on their own. I don't know.
But so then the flip side to that is maybe that's not a bad thing because there are cats that have developed opposable thumbs.
Wings in Japan. There's some with wings. Flying cats are a nightmare.
That sounds horrible.
They're not usable yet, but they could be one day.
Yeah.
You know what it makes me think of is everything comes back to Doctor Who. The final story of the 7th Doctor's era, Survival, which is all about cat people. So this is how you get Anthony Ainsley cat people. That's how you get
this. Is how you get Master with the cat eye.
Yeah. Do you want Anthony Ainsley cat people? Do you want Ace cat people? Because this is how you get it.
I mean, maybe.
And then that inevitably turns into Eric Roberts snake people, and you definitely don't want that.
Oh,
no.
Nobody wants that.
Nope.
Okay.
That's not unless you're ready to dress for success.
But stray cats kill a lot of native wildlife, a lot of it. Birds and squirrels and whatnots.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is a problem, especially in a lot of areas. It's a problem, and I mean, it's not good for the cats either because a lot of them end up real sickly and stuff.
Yeah, only 75% of stray kittens don't make it to adulthood.
The thing that makes me wonder about this is mating is a survival instinct. It's like that survival imperative kind of deal. Mm-hmm. So if mating is no longer a survival imperative, what else do they not care about?
Right.
If I don't have to propagate the species, then what even am I?
Well, I mean, we can all say that if we want to, too.
Well, I know. But we don't need to give cats our depression.
That's true.
They'll realize their dream of becoming podcasters and spend their time doing that and collecting collectibles.
Yeah. So they don't have to feel the existential dread of their meaninglessness.
Yeah.
Wow. This was a good episode, guys.
I think cats are too confident to have our problems, though. They're very sure of themselves. I don't think they are worried about it. They just be like, well, that's one less batch I got to worry about fighting food for later, or something.
Well, and
that's what they think.
Cats generally seem okay with not doing anything.
Right.
They'll lounge about, maybe they'll play, but they're good with that. That's all they need. They'll hunt.
Toys.
They'll figure out how to open your doors.
Yeah.
That's why. It's not good. It's not good. It's a risk. I don't remember Melanie was... Oh, it's the thing with, like, their apes using tools, and there's apes that have pets now that they're domesticating other animals. It's like, nope.
Yeah.
You stop them.
That's what I mean. This is Planet of the Apes. Like, somehow they'll figure out how to reproduce, and it'll be vampire cats. That's how. They'll like the cat scratch fever, and suddenly you're a cat person, just like Anthony Ainsley.
There's going to be an army of vampire cats led by Crocodile Jesus.
Yeah. Well, so far, Jesus is the only one who's ever been a virgin birth that wasn't the same sex as the parent. So, or female, because women are the ones that have babies. Clones are all female in nature, so you know.
Oh, interesting. Oh, God gave him that chromosome.
Yep. That's right. He's got the God
feel
chromosome.
I
That's
feel like
a good book title or something.
Right. I feel like we've treaded on some very dangerous territory this episode. Just in general. But
Vorpal.
But we didn't talk about Colts. We could have.
Which one?
we could have. But we didn't.
The shiny happy people. We didn't. We just mentioned it. We didn't
Actually,
talk
we kind
about
of
it.
touched on several Colts. This episode.
You're right. We did.
I don't really have anything else really to say. We still got several Thursdays this month. One of these episodes we'll be doing another Doctor Who stream. I also still have a Doctor Who audio episode. I don't think that'll go up not this coming Monday, but the Monday after. Hey, if you're not subscribed to us on wherever you listen to audio podcasts, you should be, because we're releasing episodes again. I've been cleaning up and editing our Dr. Donna segments. So 10th Doctor and Donna Noble revisit. You should check it out. And the last one we actually talked about comics, Doctor Who comics, if you're into that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the next one that'll go up in a week and a day or 2 days or whatever, will be our discussion about the Big Finish Dr. Donna adventures. So check that out.
Okay.
Meanwhile, on the live streams, we're talking about CNN and
Yeah.
And
Just
Colts.
catering to our actual audience, like.
Yeah. If I know she doesn't listen, but happy birthday tomorrow to my mom. In case,
Happy
she
birthday.
does. Yeah. Yep.
she'll love this conversation, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. She'll love it as she's watching Fox News on the side.
All right. Well, hey, Jesse, you got anything exciting coming up?
No, I don't.
I don't either.
I don't
Melanie?
think so.
Just my family things.
Okay. All right. I guess that's it.
Yeah.
All right.
I see. This was before the stream. I was like, I don't have anything to talk about.
I know.
One Doctor Who news story and nothing else.
We took 2 weeks off, and now we don't even know how to do it.
We don't even know how to do it, but we still hit
We have
it.
it. We did. So, folks, if you want to know what a normal show sounds like, it's not even a normal show. Check out our most recent crossover with You Choose podcast. Those guys had us on, or at least Randy and I were there. So
You want to hear what a normal show sounds like? Go listen to this other show that's in a totally different format than what we do. But we were there.
we were there. We were a little more normal than we are now.
That was fun, though. That was fun. I
don't think I'm ever
enjoyed
normal.
that.
That's fair.
Doesn't that then become your normal?
That
Right.
I suppose is true.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Grawlixpodcast.com. Hey, if you're wanting to stream yourself or record or do webinars, StreamYard, check it out. That's a bit of a sponsored message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know,
And if
just
you-
one scoop a day.
That's not sponsored. That's not sponsored at all.
This is the best thing that could have possibly come today in the mail.
They don't
And
even know.
if- Sorry. And if you're too lazy to edit that podcast, go to podedit.com
Please,
and
go to
have it
Podedit.
professionally
Yeah.
produced for you. There you go.
Yeah, then go search up Jesse Kiefer on Amazon. Get yourself a Tank Monkey book.
Yeah. Do that.
Yeah.
Could do
Yeah.
that.
We got things to sell you. Don't get me wrong. We can sell you all
absolutely.
day.
We could do that. Yeah. That's not what we do here. It's not what we do here. We're just healthy nerds because every one scoop a day.
Healthy nerds.
Yep.
That's our demographic.
Yeah. Athletic Grawlix screens.
I went to the doctor today. I think he would disagree with that statement.
Oh, yeah.
Just a checkup. I'm fine.
Yeah, good. Schedule your annuals, folks.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Have a great weekend. Have a great Friday and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Bye.